Good morning. My name is Krause. I'm a student with the University of Colorado at Denver's Masters of Public Administration program, and I'm also the Vice President of Park County Search and Rescue. And here to talk to you today about the mental health of backcountry search and rescue volunteers, or BSAR volunteers, and the effects of various interventions on retention, well-being, and burnout. Backcountry search and rescue in Colorado consists of approximately 50 individual teams with a total of roughly 2,800 non-paid professionals. And I use this term very intentionally because even though these are volunteers, they are by every means absolute professionals in this field. These individuals respond to emergencies 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Holidays are not exempt, nights are not exempt. We will go out at any time, in any weather conditions to help others. And there are varying mission types. Backcountry search and rescuers will respond to everything from evacuating neighborhoods during wildland fires to searching for missing people, evacuating injured parties, all the way up to fatalities, including homicides, suicides, natural causes, accidental deaths. And we will respond to recover human remains as needed. So some of these items can definitely produce traumatic responses in people. Going into this project, my research objective was to understand the effectiveness of preventive and reactive interventions on rates of retention, well-being, and burnout of backcountry search and rescue volunteers. Examples of interventions can include critical incident stress debriefs, critical incident stress management training, which is a multi-step facilitated process that is typically conducted after a critical incident, and then access to mindfulness resources. So examples of these would be apps, phone apps like Calm or Headspace. The first step in this process was to conduct a literature review. And among the literature, I really came out with three main themes. The first of which is that the effectiveness of critical incident stress management training is very variable. Some studies showed that it was somewhat successful in reducing burnout, increasing resiliency, and helping with retention. And then other studies suggested that it is not helpful at all. So there's really no conclusive evidence that critical incident stress management training is helpful. The second theme is that first responders with higher levels of mindfulness tended to show greater resiliency. And then the third theme is that there are significant barriers to care seeking. Specifically, there is still to this day a stigma associated with first responders admitting to mental health problems and associated worries of being perceived by their peers and leaderships as unfit for duty. So this seems to be decreasing in the industry, but it is still very prevalent. So based on the literature review, I narrowed down my research questions to just two, and this is to provide the mindfulness and meditation app called Calm to a select group of people for free and determine whether that helps with rates of retention and also reduces rates of burnout. The reason that I chose to narrow it down to just Calm is that this helps with simplicity, efficiency, anonymity, because we think about that last point in the literature review of people being uncomfortable sharing that they need help. And it's also more accessible to volunteers than a formal course such as critical incident stress management training. The next step in our process is to create a sampling plan. Our sample population here is approximately 2,800 individuals within Colorado. So with a confidence level of 95% and a margin of error of 5%, I determined their sampling size is 338 individuals. Knowing that the response rate for a survey like this is likely to be fairly low with this group of people, my plan is to send this out to 1,000 individuals with the help of the Colorado Search and Rescue Association, who can both provide rosters so that we can randomize our sample, and then also to help with credibility of the study. knowing that a study coming from an established organization that helps them is much more likely to get response than from just a grad student. At 6-month intervals, for a total period of 2 years, surveys will be sent out to both our control group, who did not receive free access to Calm, and our experimental group, who did receive free access to Calm. These surveys will consist of 3 standardized questionnaires, which are the Maslach Burnout Inventory that's catered to human services, the Professional Quality of Life Scale, and the 14-item Resilience Scale. Further, rosters will be compared at each of these 6-month intervals to gauge for retention and to check whether or not people have left teams. At each 6-month interval, an independent samples t-test will be conducted to compare our control group and our experimental group with an alpha level set of 0.05, which will require a p-value of less than 0.05 in order to reject our null hypothesis and accept our alternative hypothesis. Regarding validity and reliability of our study, we do want to be cognizant of confounding variables, which may include other reasons for people leaving teams, examples being personal matters like family commitments or other health-related issues, work or relocation, things like that. And additionally, we want to be cognizant of other interventions that teams or individuals might be employing which are not part of this study, such as critical incident stress management training or resiliency training. So with that, I'd like to thank everybody for your time. Please feel free to get in touch with me at my contact info below.